Okay, good morning, everybody. Can anybody hear us?
Yes.
Okay, we're about ready to get started. We'll probably have more people joining as we go here. We're hearing a lot of background noise on our end, so we're going to go ahead and mute everybody else. And then as we go through the presentation, if you have questions, you can go ahead and type them in to the text window, or just hold them until we get to that point. And then we'll unmute everybody so that we can speak, or so that we can hear you speak. On our end, unfortunately, our conference room is kind of real close to a street, and you will probably hear some background traffic noise from us. We apologize for that. Any questions before we kind of get started here on how this webinar is going to work? No? Okay. Well, Mike Riley is going to give us an introduction of what we're here to accomplish today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Riley, and I'm the ETPO coordinator with OET. And basically, what we're going to do today is they're going to walk through, and we're going to go through a how-to basically on how to do the registration, if there's some of you that haven't registered. But also, the main focus of this is we're going to work through how to upload the data. The data that is being uploaded into the system is going to be used by OET and partner agencies to look at determining baseline standards as we move towards a system of subsequent eligibility for training providers. Currently, we have a waiver for that. However, in the summer of 2017, we will move towards a system that, for inclusion on the training provider list, programs must meet baseline measures for subsequent eligibility. The data that we're collecting now and over the next couple of years will be used in the formulation of those baseline numbers. So that is the purpose of this data collection. What we're going to do today, again, is just walk through how to upload the data into the system, as well as Mr. Murphy will go through and show some troubleshooting, how to validate the data, and some other things that you may run into in this process.
Okay, so I'm going to get started. What you're looking at on the screen is our public website, and that's the interface that we've used in order to build a tool that will allow you to upload data into our data warehouse. What we do during the upload process is we also validate your data to make sure that it's in the right format and that we're going to be able to import it into our data so that you don't walk away thinking you've sent us data and you really haven't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the steps all the way back from, and I know most of you have already registered on our site, but for those that haven't, I'm going to walk through the steps on how you register, and then explain to you what we do then on the back end to enable you to come back to the site and upload your data. So when you come to our public website, let me close this window. When you come to our public website, which is at the URL that you see at the top is actually a switched one, but you can come to kcews.ky.gov. When you get there, at the bottom of the home page, and I shouldn't have logged in earlier, so I'm going to log out. At the bottom of the page, you'll find this little link down here to log in. Oh, that's aggravating. When you do that, if you have not yet registered, you're going to want to click the register link on this page. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this process really quick and create a test user. The password has to be at least 7 characters, and it has to include at least one non-alphanumeric, so a symbol, a question mark, the pound sign, something like that. And it'll tell you if you mess it up like I just did. And when you enter your email address, this can basically be any valid email address, but be careful to make it one that you're always going to have access to, because when you come back to the site and upload your data, the validation results, any error messages, and any information that we need to get out to the users of the system is going to come back to the same email address. It can be a shared email address if more than one person in your office can access it, but keep in mind that when you do that, And when you see the forms or the web pages that I'm going to show you a little bit later, you won't necessarily be able to tell which one of the users uploaded the files. So we did allow for multiple users per location. So if you have 2 or 3 people that could be responsible for uploading data, they should probably each create their own accounts. Now this is very important. This same interface is used for a lot of other people who interface with our website. So when you get to this organization, all the people on this webinar are under what we call training providers. So make sure that you pick that as your organization. And then what we've done is from the locations that have been made known to us, we've populated this list where you need to go in and pick what locations you're responsible for. And if there's more than one, then you can hold control and select more than one in this drop down. Down here in this last comments box, all of you are basically doing the same thing, and that's just uploading data, so you can just put something to that effect there. That just comes to us in an email letting us know what type of access that you're requesting. Okay, let me try that one more time. Okay, so you will get an email just confirming that you've registered. It's very important to make sure that you in fact get that email, because if you don't get that one, if it goes to your junk folder, chances are all the other emails that our system tries to send you are also not going to reach you. Once you have done that process, once you're a registered user, what we do is we double check with the lists that Mike has, and we assign you to the certain roles so that when you come back to the system, you know, it's a little bit smarter and it knows what data files that we expect you to upload. So I'm going to log in now as another account and just basically show you how that process is going to work. So once you have an account and you come back and you log in, and once you've received an email from us saying that we're ready for you to start uploading data, because we're still relatively in a test mode right now. But once you come back and you log in, you're going to see another link appear on the left side over here, and it's called Upload Data. And that's where you need to go. And once you come to this page, basically you're just going to walk through this little wizard. Again, you're going to select training providers from the drop down. You may not see all the same data in these drop downs that I am. I'm in multiple roles on this system. Then what you're going to pick, and this is very important for each given academic year, we're expecting one file per location per year. So pick the year that you're going to upload data for. I'm going to pick an old one right now just to show you a little history in a minute. And then the only file type that you all will be concerned with is training data, so select that. Now once you select training data, a couple of things happen on the website. This link that appears here that says Show File Structure is just sort of a help screen that we've designed to help you make sure that the file you're about to upload is going to pass validation. When you click that link, it brings up this page that shows you the exact columns that we expect to be in your file and in this order. And then we give you some data about what data type it is. Now, what you're dealing with really is data that you've either extracted out of a database or an Excel spreadsheet, so you don't have to worry too much about when this says it's a date or whatever. But it does give you some indication over here as to what fields are required, and by required, what we mean here is every column that's on this chart is required. It has to be in your file, but what required means is whether the column can be empty of data. So whether you can have nulls in that particular column or not. So it would probably behoove everybody to take a look at this in advance and just make sure that the file that you're extracting from whatever system you use looks like this. So going back to the website, the other thing that popped up once I picked training data is this Excel template. And all we did here was, we understand that a lot of people are going to start with their data in Excel. And so we built a template that already has the column names and everything across the top, just to make it a little easier if you wanted to paste your data into this to start with. And if I can get it to come up here, I will show it to you. Okay. So in this spreadsheet template, one of the tabs is just some instructions, which really doesn't have a whole lot. You can use this tab here, though, that says data, and you can actually paste your data under these column headers just to be sure that you've got the right column names. And that is important when the file gets uploaded, that we check to make sure we have all these columns. And then the last tab was just some sample data, just in case you're curious as to what format some of these, like for instance, Social Security numbers, we just want the 9 numbers. We don't want the dashes and all that. And the yeses and nos, just so that you know what kind of data we're looking for in those particular columns. So again, this is just a template. You can use it. You don't have to use it. But while I'm on this template, the type of file that you're actually going to upload to us is not a spreadsheet. So it won't be a .xls or anything like that. What we need you to upload will end in .txt. So it's going to be a text file, and it's going to be tab delimited. If you're extracting your data out of a database, most systems will have the ability to extract it in that format. If you're starting with your data in Excel, or if you're just extracting it to Excel, what I'm going to show you is how to go from an Excel spreadsheet to a tab delimited text file. So we'll just use this sample right here. And if I wanted to save this as tab delimited, all I have to do in Excel, and it doesn't matter if you're in an old version of Excel or a newer one, is do a save as, and when you get to this dialog window where it defaults to Excel workbook, go down until you find the one that says text, tab delimited, and it ends in the .txt extension. And then you can name your file whatever you'd like to name it. It doesn't matter when you upload it. But it's always helpful if you go ahead and put maybe the academic year and maybe an abbreviated version of the location of what your file is. And then you just hit save. I'm not going to worry about saving it right now. So then you store that text file on your computer somewhere that you'll be able to access it when you come to our page here. So back to our page here, where I left off was that we've picked training data. If you're only responsible for one location, then this drop-down box will only list that one location. But if you're responsible, maybe like in my example here, for 2 different locations of the Red Cross, you're going to see them both. Make sure you pick the one that you're actually interested in uploading the data for. So I'm going to pick the Airline Ground Schools. Comments is just here if you need to tell us something. You don't have to put anything in this box. Then you're going to browse to that text file that you built. So what I'm going to do first is I've intentionally created a file that's got a few errors in it because I want to show you what happens when the file doesn't meet the validation requirements and how you can then go back and fix those. So once you click browse and you navigate to your file, you just simply click upload. You'll get this message back telling you whether or not your file was uploaded and whether or not it was successful. Depending on the size of your file, this can actually take a few minutes. And then you'll get an email. If you can see that on my screen, you'll get an email also telling you the results of your file. But before I leave the screen for a second, I wanted to show you, I should have probably showed you this before I uploaded it, but depending on how many locations you're responsible for, there's going to be a little grid down here for each academic year just showing you the status of your files. So it's kind of a tool that you can look at to know basically once you've sent all the files that you're responsible for. So I'm going to jump over to my email and show you what just came in. So this is typical of an email showing you what errors that we found in the file that was uploaded. What it does in order to keep from, if you had 500 records and 400 errors, we didn't want to send you 400 different errors. So this sort of summarizes it. And basically what it's saying is in the column called exclusion from performance, one record didn't meet the requirements of what data is supposed to be in that file. And again, you can refer back to the file help to see what that's supposed to be. In this case, I believe that was a yes, no, and so there was probably either nothing in there or something other than a Y or an N. Institution name, a lot of these fields, if they are required fields, then you can't leave them blank. So in this case, at least one record had, or I shouldn't say at least, one record didn't have anything in the institution name column. And we can go back and look at these in my test file here in a second. Same thing for last name. And program level, there were 4 records that have missing or invalid data in that field. And you can see as you go on through here that it's just summarizing for each column there were certain records in that data file that didn't meet what it was expecting to find in there. So let me go ahead and open that file. Whoops, didn't mean to open that. So here's the file that I had, and it's kind of a little bit jumbled, but you can see that certain data was missing in this file intentionally, and I left off some last names. Let's scroll over here. I apologize for my mouse. We've got a new mouse, and it's moving a whole lot quicker than I'm used to. Let me open this in Excel. It's going to be a little easier to... I can't. Are you kidding me? Well, I can't. But trust me that I embedded some errors into this file so that it would fail validation. Now I'm going to go back and you can see, let's see, what was the, you can see like these columns here, they're supposed to be yes and no, and that there were some blanks in them. Let me go back and show you once that happens, obviously you would just go back to your file or maybe back to your database and re-extract the file and fix those errors. But when I come back, I think I uploaded that one for the airline ground schools. So all you have to do once you have a file that you think you've corrected the errors in is come back down through here, select the same academic year and the same file type. I'll go back to the ground schools. And now I'm going to browse to the one that I think is without errors. And I'm going to re-upload it, and you notice down here in the grid that line went to file uploaded, and if we give it a minute, we should see a validation passed, and there it is. And so this time that file didn't have any errors, and it came through okay. And you get an email, which is a very simple email that basically is just going to say that it passed. So that's it. And it also tells you how many record counts. And you should probably look at that, because if you thought you uploaded 300 records and this comes back as 50, then something failed and it didn't catch it. So kind of take a look at that and make sure it looks like all the records that you intended to upload got through. And then let me get back to the website. And again, I've got some different roles in here, so this grid is a little bit cluttered down here. But the one in question obviously says validation passed. And if you have multiple locations there, once you see all that message in all those files for that given year, then you're done. Let me pop over here and see if we have any questions coming in yet. Okay, is everybody unmuted?
Yes, they should be unmuted. Everybody should be able to hear you.
Okay, I think Martha has unmuted everybody, so if you have any questions, go ahead and speak up and we will try to answer them.
We apologize for the inability for some of you to hear until about halfway through it. We didn't realize that that was an issue. So this will be linked on our website, so you can go back and watch it at your convenience, and then we'll probably log some Q&A from this today as well and make that available with Mike, as well as some printed copies of just the screenshots of how to do this, if that's a better way for you to come up to speed on what to do. But so for right now, what kind of questions do we have? Can everybody hear now? Because we're not hearing anyone.
I can hear you, but I was not able to get into the meeting to keep anything.
Okay, well, we'll get you a link so you can go see it, and then if you have questions, we can work with you one-on-one. Who is this?
This is Kim Royalty at Chick Academy.
Say it again, Kim.
Royalty.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
So it's actually pretty simple. It's, you go in once you've registered, like most of you guys have already registered. You go register, and if you can just walk through the process, we've got the Excel template there for you that shows you how your data should be formatted, and we've got some instructions to tell you how to save it, and then you upload it. If it passes validation, it'll tell you. If it doesn't, it'll tell you, and it will tell you why it didn't pass validation. So hopefully that'll be self-explanatory. I think there were questions. Get ready to come up there, Chuck. Somebody was typing a question.
I was going to mention too, while the website is showing, if you do have problems, technical problems getting onto this page to upload data or anything, there's a contact us link that you can use that comes directly to our team. If you have questions more about your data, you need to contact Mike about those. But if for some reason you're having any kind of problems with this website, feel free to use this contact us link right here. Let me open the link here. Okay, Tim, can you hear me? Tim Ring?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's your question. Is there a data template?
Yeah, is there a data template that shows the file structure, file layout?
There is. In fact, are you seeing our desktop? Are you seeing the screen?
I'm seeing it, but I didn't hear half of the presentation, so I don't know if you went through it already or not.
I did, but I'll go back through that part here real quick. The screen that's showing right now, after you've registered and after you logged on and come to our upload page, and once you select training providers in the data source drop down in the right academic year and the file type, you're going to see these links that I'm pointing to with my mouse, if you can see that. The first one, show file structure, is sort of just an on-screen help file. You can print it, but I mean it's designed so that you can kind of look at this and say, well, here's all the element names and the column names, what they're supposed to be named, and then some data about what type of data we expect in there. Obviously, all of your data is just going to come in a text file, but this kind of shows you, like, for instance, if you're familiar with database terminology, a varchar field of 35 means if you have data that's longer than 35 characters, it's not going to validate and come through. So this is one tool, and this also tells you what columns are required. So a required column, again, means that you can't have any blanks in that column. So if it's a yes/no field, it can't have yes, no, and null. It would have to have no's instead of nulls. The other tool, let me get back to the page. The other tool that we give you is if you're going to route your data through Excel, or if that's how you store it, we've provided just a little Excel template right here that has the column names across the top that you could, real easily just paste your data into this template so that all the column names are spelled right and everything else. Is that what you were looking for?
Yep, that was it.
Okay. Get the link back up here.
And also, Tim, I don't know if you heard us say this or not, but we will make available this webinar, a link so you can go back and watch this again if you need to, just to refresh yourself on how to do
Okay,
this.
thank you.
Sure.
Okay, and somebody asked if you can upload an Excel file. Unfortunately, no. We originally wanted to do it that way, but Excel, it has some quirks when we try to validate, and if the Excel file itself is trying to set a data type like numeric or whatever, it really messed with our validation. You can, however, though, it's